Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It is me, Kay, and I'm here today to bring you Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 113. And now I wrote notes, but I think I'm just gonna talk and then, if I need them, I will revisit them. Okay, so everybody is pretty much at the hospital for Kat. As we know in the last episode, Kat decided to move forward with the surgery in order to save Eva's life because she was the only match and she was the only person remaining. So while everybody's waiting, it's a long time that passes. Nicole is at the hospital, but she is taking meetings, in order to, pass the time for surgery. Ted is there the whole day. Even Carlton checks in and out on, everyone and see what's going on. He sends Nicole messages. He comforts Ted, you know what I mean? We also see that, Isaiah has told his family that they can leave the hospital. And so we see them reconvene at the police station. And Naomi is there. And, they're concerned. And so they want to go back and lay eyes on Isaiah. But Isaiah says that he doesn't need them there. So Naomi tells them that she will go and, check in on Isaiah, make sure everything is good. Especially since Isaiah, went above and beyond to make Naomi feel special during her and Jacob's anniversary when Jacob was away on duty. There was a moment between Shanice and Leslie where Leslie asked Shanice why was she being so nice to her, and she was just like, Shanice replied that she's able to basically separate, sorry y'all, it's cold. She's able to separate her street life basically from her job. And she said that she is always able to provide excellent patient care. And so, it's just pretty much a waiting game. But eventually, we get the news that the surgery went well. Also, during this time, we see Vanessa sitting with Joey. And, Joey is, concerned for Isaiah because, as we know, Isaiah and Joey have a very close relationship. But because of the optics, Joey never goes around Isaiah. And they don't want their dealings to be known between others. And so, Joey sends a warm regards message via Vanessa to Isaiah, but we also end up seeing when Elon visits Joey, we end up seeing Joey ask Elon about Isaiah. He tries to make it seem like it's just, random, but Elon was very skeptical of it. Darlene, we also see her have a conversation with Elon, and she is, very happy that, she feels like progress is being made between Elon and his relationship with Isaiah. Because as we know, they have a very troubled relationship and they don't get along. But Elon said he was going to put his differences aside to be there to support his son. So, like I said in my last review, I thought that was nice. Now, Anita has a side conversation with Leslie during the time. And I just was like, my God, the Duprees are such nice people. They will be blessed. They will be blessed. Because I don't know if I could say with confidence that I would have been as nice and as comforting or even said anything to Leslie during this time. I know that this time is serious, like Anita said, and, typically a shared experience is what unites people. But, even with all the things that Leslie has done, I just don't know if I would have had 2 words to say to that lady for real. And then even like after the conversation Anita had with Leslie, Leslie came into the lobby where all the family was, and she sat in the middle. And she was just like, she also said it to Shanice, but when Shanice was in the room with her, she was like, after the day, lives will be changed. And she was just like, regardless of, everything that I have done, hopefully, we can move forward and we can start a new chapter. Chelsea said, keep that same energy, sis. Kat made this decision on her own. I just hope you know that we didn't have nothing to do with it. And she got up. And you know what? A small portion of me was in agreement with Chelsea. I probably would have got up. I might have left the lobby. I don't know. But yeah, it's just, it's just been a hard position to be put in. And, everybody's going back and forth. Also, we see Danny has a conversation with Vanessa, and they almost got caught. Andre almost overheard them talking. All he heard was the word cheating scandal, though, and Vanessa quickly came up with a lie to, deflect from what her and Danny was talking about. But, I just really, this really made me look at Danny in a different light, because even with her trying to hide it or, trying to lie or divert the truth, it's really just giving hypocrite to me. Like, she got mad at all that sneaking around, all that lying Bill was doing, and now she's doing the same thing. And honestly, I think if she was to tell Andre would be devastated. But because I feel like the nature of their relationship, I feel like Andre would be more understanding. Now, I'm not saying that it wouldn't take him a while to get over it, but I do think he would be more understanding given the, given the occasion. But then also, that still shows that Danny still has a weakness for Bill. Danny does all that talking, and she wants to be over Bill, but she's not actually over Bill yet. And that may be the, reason they break up. I would hate for Andre to have to find out later, or to come out, in some random way. But I hope that she is the one to tell Andre on her own. Andre ends up leaving because he has a photo shoot. I did want to tug at Andre wig a little bit, because Andre ended up saying some nice words about Kat, and I was just like, Andre, it's crazy how you saying this gang when you was just, calling Kat a brat and saying she was selfish and all that a while ago. I also want to tug at Martin wig, because Martin also too felt guilty about some words that he said after he fussed Kat out a couple episodes ago, and Kat, ended up laying her life on the line for Eva. She put all that aside. I mean, sometimes people just gotta, just give people time. And a majority of the time, I just really feel like, Kat was battling on what she wanted to do, but she really had to just get over her ego, really, for the most part, because I was hoping that she wouldn't have to give to Eva. But if push came to shove, I knew she wouldn't let Eva die, because she didn't even want Eva to die in that closet. She was so afraid, and she screamed for help, the whole time they were in there. So there wasn't a doubt for me that, she wouldn't do it for Eva, but it's just the fact that I didn't want her to, because she didn't want to, Also, I don't know what Naomi is hiding, but Carlton did end up approaching her about her consultation that she canceled a couple days ago. It's just like the fact that they bought that up and then they never said anything, and now it's been a couple days later and it's coming up again. So I just really want to know what it is that Naomi wants to, see Carlton about. And then she kind of was like very aloof with him. Like, he said something and she was just like, kind of like, oh, you calling me out in front of all these people, all my family here. I don't really want to talk to you about this right now. This is not the time, but I will reconvene and call your office later and we can talk about it. And she walked off. I'm just like, okay, so what's going on? Like, is she trying to have some kind of like, I'm not saying she want an augmentation. A thought did cross my mind about her possibly removing, her breast tissue, because, just as a preventative measure, some women, if cancer runs in their family, they'll go ahead and have a double mastectomy just because, and then get like implants. But then part of me was just like, maybe she just want to have, you know, her measurements and everything on record in the event she ever did need to have one. So I feel like I had both of those thoughts. Also, I just, you know, I'm really over her hiding stuff from Jacob. Like, I just feel like, you know, Jacob has sorry y'all, I don't know what was going on my phone. I just feel like Jacob has just, you know, been very open with Naomi. And I just feel like she just really hasn't played fair in their marriage. Now to the meat and potatoes of the episode. After the family receives news that the surgery was successful, you know, everyone goes their separate ways to, you know, visit Kat and Eva. Before Nicole showed up, she did call Danny and was just basically like, you know, I don't know who Ted will visit first, but in the event that, you know, I don't have to, I just wanted to say this so that he doesn't have to make a decision. Just tell him that I will go and be with Kat. And then right when Danny was going to tell him the news, Leslie got up and interrupted Danny and was just like, Ted, can you come in there with me to see Eva? And even then, I just feel like that was kind of selfish of Leslie. I don't know. I just feel like even throughout this whole thing, I kind of feel like Kat still got the short end of the stick. And I just feel like because Kat was the donor, they've been there with Eva for days. You know, I feel like Ted should have prioritized, you know, checking on Eva first. I mean, checking on Kat first this time, because he's been checking on Eva, you know, and he's been comforting Leslie this whole time. And I feel like, you know, I kind of feel like he hasn't really been there for Nicole like that throughout this whole process. And, you know, how she feels. But, you know, when Ted did go in the room and he noticed Kat wasn't up, I saw him touching the machines, and I was just like, oh my God, he checking her numbers, because he's wondering why Eva is up and Kat is not up. And then a few moments later, you know, we see the doctor rush in because Kat's heart rate starts increasing. And so, you know, Kat is having complications from this procedure, and, you know, while everybody is in the other room filling Eva in on what Kat did, you know, Kat is having complications. And we don't see it, but I would hate for Ted to, you know, leave Nicole and then go back into the other room and tell Leslie and Kat that Eva's having tell Leslie and Eva that Kat is having complications, because they're gonna feel guilty, especially after all that talking junk. I mean, Leslie ended up being grateful, but everything on the journey to being grateful, she had some mean things to say. And even when she woke up, that, you know, they ain't go into details, but they told her that Kat saved her life. I guess she was wondering to like what extent, and I guess she even felt bad because, you know, all of the ways that, you know, she's done Kat wrong, and all of the, you know, mean and vicious things that they said to each other. I think after this, Eva is going to be feeling pretty guilty. I do think she's going to eventually go when all this is over. You know, I think she is eventually going to talk to Kat and thank her for saving her, and even thank her for, you know, making sure she got help in the closet. But I do think that Eva's going to go through a bit of not survivor's remorse, but guilt, because, you know, especially after she told her, you know, one day you're going to need me. And, you know, Eva ended up needing Kat. But yeah, but hopefully, you know, it does lead to them having a conversation about, you know, everything that happened, and hopefully they both can be understanding and listen to both sides. I do think also with Kat experiencing these complications that her I think it's gonna be two like options of things that happen. Either Kat is gonna be upset that she had to go through complications because she decided to help Eva, or this will be a wake up call for Kat to be more forgiving, finally like acknowledge her sister, and let bygones be bygones. I don't know which way it's gonna go. It could go either way. In my Drewski voice, it could go either way. But I also think that with Kat experiencing these complications, this is going to bring Ted and Nicole closer together because they probably will be spending a lot of time together. I do also want to say that I have been noticing that throughout this whole stint with the whole family being at the hospital, I've been noticing Shanice like looking at Ted, how he's interacting with Leslie. And once the complications are now happening with Kat, she's probably going to be noticing how he is with Nicole. And this probably will lead to the end of Shanice and Ted being a thing. I do think that. So yeah, y'all. Oh, Martin won his primary. He did go live during this episode. Vernon and Anita helped him, He did also, at the fundraiser he had the other night, he did decide to use all his proceeds that he made toward disaster relief. So, I think a lot of the patrons in his district appreciated him, I guess being a man of his word, or thinking about the people first, and instead of using the money for his campaign to help, bring relief to those who were affected by the tornado in that area. But other than that, I guess we'll see how episode 114 goes. They had a week of it all being about Eva. I guess this whole week is gonna be about Kat. So we just here for the ride, guys. We just here for the ride, Live another day to hear how the story develops. But yeah, y'all. Like, comment, and subscribe. I will be back with more reviews. Deuces.